Hello, today we will talk about some, psychological biases. In other words, that kind of shit in our brain which tricks us and we, making wrong decisions. Like imagine your brain is like a super powerful computer, but even the best computers sometimes have glitches, right? Well, your brain has biases that this kind of little shortcut that help you make quick decisions, but it can also trick you. So let's explore some of the sneakiest biases your brain uses every day. Sorry, and how to outsmart them. So the first one is about anchoring bias. It is the first number sticks. Imagine you walk into a store and the first thing you see is a hoodie for $200. Whoa, that's expensive, you think? Then you see another hoodie for $80. Suddenly the second hoodie feels cheap in comparison. And this happens because of the anchoring bias, like in other words, your brain latches onto the first number and it sees and compares everything else to it. This is why, salespeople show you the most expensive item first. So, how to, outsmart it? Always compare prices to the real market value, not just the first number you see. And another one, when negotiating, start with your own anchor. Excuse me. Throw out a number before the other person does. So basically, it's how can I say? The whole point of this anchoring bias that our brain stick to the first price or the first anything else what you see, and comparing other options with it. And because this kind of, again, see salesperson know this shit, they, even though they know that you're not actually going to buy this expensive shit, they still show you that. Why? Because after another lower prices gonna be for you even much lower. Like imagine another scenario where, again, like let's say you saw that hoodie price not $200 but $80 first, and then I mean $80 is still, not all people can afford it, and that's the point, to make a contrast, because after showing first $200 price, $80 not looks that much expensive. In other words, by making this kind of order of prices, like the most expensive and then like cheaper ones, they impacting to your perception, and for you it looks like, I mean, if you don't know these kind of tricks, for you, for the average customer, it looks like it is what it is. They don't know any manipulation, and it's their own, of course, decision to buy because it's air quotes cheap. So again, the point is always compare information from different sources, and when it comes to buying something, when it comes to prices, always check the market prices from different stores. Okay, that was about anchoring bias, and even simpler, you can remember it like the first number sticks, the first anything sticks. Information, we can say, generally. Okay, the next one, confirmation bias. It is about that your brain loves being right. Ever Googled something like why pineapple on pizza is the best, and clicked only on articles that agree with you, which we do most of the time. And that's confirmation bias. We naturally, seek out information that confirms what we already believe. This is why people argue endlessly, like online, without changing their minds. How you can outsmart it, challenge yourself, try searching for the opposite of your beliefs. Ask, what if I'm wrong, instead of looking for ways to prove you're right. So, in other words, this confirmation bias is about that when people try to constantly find information, but just that type of information which is confirming they're right, and people ignoring another information that shows the opposite, because most people do not want to feel that they're wrong. They wanna, all the time, and they wanna be fucking perfect. And the point is, if you wanna be productive, if you wanna understand another point of view, and it's not about even accepting. It's about considering all possible views, and just after that making your decision without reaching to a conclusion. First, you should always be open for different type of information, even if they show that you're wrong. Okay, that was about confirmation bias. Next one is about the availability heuristic. About what you see feels more true. Your friend tells you, for example, your friend tells you about a plane crash, and suddenly flying feels super dangerous, but in reality, like driving is far more risky than flying. You just don't hear about car crashes as much. This happens because your brain believes things are more common if they're easier to remember. It's why people think shark attacks are common. Yeah, thanks for movies. Even though vending machines kill more people per year. And how to outsmart it? What's the solution? Before freaking out, ask how often does this really happen? Or another tip, look at real statistics instead of like a relying of what feels true. In other words, this availability heuristic is about that people rely on opinions rather than on hard, solid data. And, if you hear something, whatever, like, accidents or like about being dangerous, like about being in danger in some like a plane or what or something, you should literally Google, what's the statistics. If they're, I don't know actually how vending machines killing people, which is even scarier. So the key is, just fucking Google how many people died because of this and because of that, and if 1,000 people dying because of the car accident, let's say, per day, and plane crash happening just once, and that does not mean that you don't have to consider, of course, but statistically speaking, there's more chances to hit on the street, on the road, than on the fucking plane. Just try to analyze whatever information you're getting logically, not emotionally. Okay, the next one about the Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know, the smarter you think you are, which is, of course, it already sounds stupid. Ever met someone who just started like learning guitar and asked like, the next Jimi Hendrix? Or like someone who barely knows a topic but argues like an expert? So this is a Dunning-Kruger effect when beginners think they know everything while actually expert doubt themselves because they realize how complex things are. So, what's the solution? If you feel 100% sure about something, pause and ask, do I really know enough? And of course, keep learning. The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. And the solution to not having this kind of the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's not about constant overthinking. It's about questioning your opinions. In other words, when you try to distinguish your opinion with facts, and again, it's about constant learning, constant self-reflecting. You can ask why. You need that for the precise planning in order to make precise decisions. And again, it's there are always probability of uncertainty, and that's okay. But at least before you're gonna make some deep analysis, especially when it comes to the big problems, and but once you did some plans to like some action, you gotta be decisive. It's not about again constant overthinking. It's about questioning your assumptions in order to not have this kind of Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay, the next one about the sunk cost fallacy, sticking to bad decisions just because you already started. Ever forced yourself to finish a terrible movie just because you already watched an hour? Or, like, let's say, stayed in a bad relationship because you had already invested too much time, air quotes. That's the sunk cost fallacy, like when your brain hates wasting effort, so it tells you to keep going even when quitting would be smarter. So what's the solution? Ask, would I start this today knowing what I know now? Or accept that wasted time, money is gone no matter what. Do not let it trap you. In other words, do not let your bitch-ass lazy part of your brain to take over you, because our brain can be our like a helper, and at the same time that our brain can trick us. And how we can find solution, in other words, do not let your laziness to fuck up your life. It's better to stop wasting something on time than constantly lying to yourself about that you're doing something well. Do not lose your objectivity. In other words, if you objectively see that this shit doesn't worth to do this anymore, and there's solid reasons, even though it's gonna be hard, you gotta switch to something productive, because again, hard laziness, it's all about emotions which want to take control of you. In other words, they want to cloud, they want to trick your logic. So your logic always should be on the top of your emotions. Okay, the next one is about halo effect. Looks can fool you. Why do we assume that celebrities are super nice just because they're good looking, or believe someone is smart just because they dress well? That's the halo effect. In other words, our brain assumes that one good trait, like beauty, means someone is good at everything. That's why politicians, influencers, and marketers rely so much on image. So what's the solution? Before trusting someone's opinion, check out their actual knowledge or experience. Separate looks from skills. Yeah, that's the good inside advice separate looks from skills. Just because someone seems smart doesn't mean they are. In other words, it's the halo effect. It's about doing like a people weaknesses when they generalizing some good skill or some good look to other areas which not related objectively with that. In other words, when someone looks nice, like her outfit or his outfit looks nice, people tend to think that they're also smart. But of course, that's not the case. Okay, the next one is about the recency bias. The latest thing feels most important. Imagine you had an amazing last day of vacation, even if the rest of the trip was just meh. You'll probably say that was the best trip ever. That's a recency bias. In other words, your brain remembers the latest thing better than everything before it. It happens in school too. Your grade on the last test feels more important than all the ones before. So the solution here against the recency bias, when making big decisions, look at the whole picture, not just what happened last. Take notes over time so you remember everything, not just the most recent stuff. And in terms of people meeting new people, this actually also makes sense in terms of people's perception that actually people do not remember you from the first moment. They remember the last moment. And by understanding this, it actually makes sense to double down on the last moment when we're dealing with someone. Of course, from that person perspective, we said the opposite in terms of objectively looking to the whole picture. But because it's also at the same time people's flaws, we should consider this situation. So again, the recency bias, in terms of weakness, it's about that we usually remember the last thing of any event or something else. But in order to be objective, we should consider the whole picture. Okay. The next one about social proof bias. Everyone's doing it, so it must be right. Ever seen a long line outside a restaurant and thought, it must be good? Or felt pressure to join a trend because everyone else is doing it? That's a social proof. Our brain assumes that if lots of people believe something, it must be true, but popularity, it doesn't equal to correctness. Looking at your, dumb TikTok trends. So what's the solution? Ask, do I actually like this, or am I just, following the crowd? And just because something is popular doesn't mean it's good. Think for yourself. And again, on internet it's very tricky, especially with AI now. people can buy views, people can, I mean, from creators' perspective, people can buy views, people can buy comments, put some fucking thousands of bots. And as a real person, if you will not have this kind of critical thinking, you will think like, many people like it. Maybe there's something, and it gives you, it tricks your brain to go deep into this. Meanwhile, it's all could be, artificial. So, final boss, your own brain. Biases are, sneaky because they feel natural, but once you know about them, you can catch your brain's little tricks and make better decisions. So next time you hear a crazy story, see a price tag, or feel pressure to follow the crowd, pause, think, and outsmart your brain. Get a favorite bias from the list, or one you totally fell for before. Drop it in the comments, and thank you for listening. Thumbs up, subscribe,